Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the IDB podcast. I am so excited today because I've got Sandra Showalter. I can't even say her first name right. And she is, if you call her photographer, you are way off base because she is a visual brand, and I just forgot the third word.
Strategist.
Strategist. That's what it is. All right, Sandra, how you doing today?
I am good. Maybe visual brand strategist is a little hard.
I love it because I mean that's exactly what you are. You know, those that think it's just a photographer. It's not what it is. And you know, because we met at the Hey Katie Texas networking event. Hey Katie Texas, right?
I am Katie. I am Katie Texas.
I am Katie Texas networking event, and we got to talking a little bit. And Sandra was telling me a little bit about what she does and everything. And I was just like, no, you're not a photographer. Like, no, not even close. Like, you know. So I was like, I had to have her come on because some of the stuff she's talking about, guys, is awesome. So you know what? That's enough of me. Sandra, tell us a little bit about yourself and exactly what you do.
All right. Thank you so much for having me, Jose. I'm excited to be here because this is like a new journey that I've decided to take in January as being this visual brand strategist, where I basically want to work with entrepreneurs to improve your visual brand, creating a cohesive look from your social media to your website and to your marketing. So that way, no matter where your visitors are going or scrolling, they're going to stop their scroll, but they're going to recognize you across all those platforms. So, you know, it's to help you stand out amongst any of your competitors, but also to just show them who you are to make that connection. So that's what I do.
Nice. No, I love it. I mean, you know, one of the topics we hit on big time when we were talking is websites and stock images. You know, and I spent, I'm not gonna say a pretty penny, but those stock images are not cheap. You know, and if you start, and I think you brought up the good point is as you go into a website, you see a stock image, you're gonna see the same image on about 13 other websites. You know?
So I started doing research. You know, dentist office is a great example because if you go to dentist office websites, you start seeing that all the photos are the same happy, smiling family, and which you know it's a pretty smiling family. But how are you as a dentist office standing out from the crowd amongst the hundreds that someone has to choose from within your local area? If you have the same image, the same colors, the same branding, you're not. So, you know, like you can actually do a Google reverse search on those images and you can see how many times they've been used across the sites. So for dentists, that particular image, I believe it was over 100 times.
Wow.
So, you know, that it's just insane because then you're just starting to look like everyone else, you know?
No, for sure. You know, that's something that I see a lot, at least in the accounting industry, is I'll start scrolling through LinkedIn or Twitter or something, and I start seeing the same people posting the same article with the same everything and the same picture. And you go, you know, I think there was one talking about federal withholdings, and there was like, I kid you not, we counted 20 people scrolling through within like the first 5 minutes of scrolling that just had the same article with the same picture, and all they did was just change the caption up a little bit, you know, when they posted it. And to me, I was just like, that's, you know, you think you're standing out, and you know, while it may be good content, you're just kind of cookie. How are you setting yourself apart from everyone else?
And you know what's sad is on that content, because I actually had done research into this, is paid content for, you know, like one person wrote that and is selling that content to all these accountants. So all these accountants are posting this one piece of content. And for your SEO on your website, that's terrible because it sees the same content from one site to another. And so therefore you're not being credible.
No, I agree with you 100%, you know,
yeah.
But let's take it a step back real quick because I feel we just kind of jumped right into the
topic. No.
And so first, let's talk about brand. So in your definition, what is exactly building your brand, or what do you mean when you say building your brand? Because I've had a lot of people be like, well, I don't understand. I have my company and we have a website. Why? What else do I need? It's just, no, it doesn't work like that. It's not that simple. So I guess you tell me what, as far as from you, where you see it, and then I'll kind of tell you a little bit what I think. And I'd like to kind of talk about that a little bit, as if we can,
Yeah.
just to kind of start off, and then we can jump into the SEO and all that.
So, Jose, you're building your brand. You know how you're building your brand is you're building trust. You are making a relationship, and people are going to trust you, and therefore they're going to end up hiring you. They're going to end up going to you for advice. That's what a brand is. It's about you and your reputation. And people need to recognize that no matter where they are coming across you, whether that's going to be your podcast or that's going to be your website or your social media. If they see, like I have this image right here, and I actually think that this would be a really great portrait for you. So, just a plain white background, but have you with your mic and your headset, and just crop. Like, I love it. I think this would be a great portrait for you. And I think that people could recognize that from, if you had this on your Facebook and then your website and then your LinkedIn, just like this, they're going to know, hey, this is my accountant guy. He's the one that's teaching us.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I've got actually back here, I call it the wall of love. So it's all people that, so far, JJ, the CPA, if you don't know about him, he's the CPA. And then we got paychecks, and then we've got zero. And then this is the U.S. soccer team just because I watch them. But this is kind of what I call the wall of love. But no, you put it best. It's kind of your reputation, and that's how I see it. It's kind of, how are you setting yourself apart? And what are you doing? Because I can pay somebody to, like you said, paid content, and I can pay them and they throw it out there. But how does that set it apart from me? And something that I've worked a lot with a gentleman out in California called Juan Garcia from Gold Lake Media, and because he specializes in marketing for the accounting firm specifically. And something that we talked about is kind of, if you're going to have those kind of articles, that's fine, but take them and essentially, but put your twist to it. You put what is your, analysis of it and kind of things like that. So, but I think you hit it on the head. I mean, it's based on your reputation. It's building that trust, that that they're going to come to me and know that, hey, this guy knows what he's talking about. Or this guy, he understands it. And it's not just, you're not just dealing with a robot, a chat bot that you have kind of,
Right, exactly. And, I think that where some of the struggles come and people don't necessarily understand what a brand is it's your purpose. If this is your job and you're doing something that you really love and want to make a difference with, you have to identify with where is that difference, who are the people that you're talking to, and then just share. Just start sharing. It doesn't have to be high quality or anything like that. Now, what I do say, and I love, like when I'm going through websites or LinkedIn or anything like that, that first impression is very important. Mm-hmm. But the content that you're sharing can be real and raw. So you want your photos to be professional for that first impression, so the header of wherever they're scrolling through. So your blog post, that header image, your website, that header image, your LinkedIn, that header image, all of that should be professionally branded. Whether you're using photos or the fonts or the colors, anything like that should all just go together. But the content that you share within that, just share. Be raw and be who you are.
Be authentic.
Yes.
Be authentic. And I'm glad you bring that up because, right after tax season ended, I got together with a good friend of mine, Jacqueline Velez, who works for Xero, the software, and we created a lot of content. And one of the first things is we started recording videos, and she's like, no, that wasn't good enough. No, I'm like, Jackie, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just, let's just, for me, every video I do one take. If I mess it up, oh, well, it is what it is. Now don't get me wrong. If I'm doing like a presentation or something, a lot more formal, then of course I'm going to want it right with the teleprompter and everything. But if it's just kind of getting content out there, I'm doing it one take. Right. This one, if I mess something up here, I'm not going to be like Sandra. No. Let's start from the beginning. Let's restart from the beginning. You know,
It'd be
no,
all day.
yeah, it's like so that's to me. I think that's I love it because you hit it right the nail on the head. Is being authentic, and just get the information out there, even if it is an old school iPhone first generation with the video camera. It doesn't matter. Get the content out there,
Yeah.
as you start to grow because that's what's important. People want to know that. I had a discussion with another gentleman about this. How they're like, oh, well, if you want to start a podcast, you got to go get a mic, you got to go get this. No, you don't. No, you
Nope, just start.
just start.
You know what people are going to do? They're going to watch you grow. They're going to admire that you've grown. Like I know there was this, and this is just an example, there's this gentleman who wanted to get in shape, knew nothing about working out. But he started videoing and doing lives of him working out so people could see his, progress and how he was improving. So by the time he got to a really good stage into this, people had built this trust because they had seen, how serious he was and how the results that he was getting because of it. So you just start, just do it.
No, I love it. And that kind of ties into a little bit something else that I didn't even consider bringing up, but I think it'll fit perfectly into this is, people are always asking me primarily, it's like, I want to start a business. What do I do? What do I do? Well, what are you good at? What are you passionate about? I mean, like you said, this gentleman wanted to work out. Okay, start making videos, start making anything. Next thing you know, you get a huge following. You start getting sponsored. Maybe you start creating your own workouts. And then all of a sudden, boom, it turns into a business.
Maybe your passion changes.
Mm-hmm.
But your purpose still remains. So you've built this.
Perfect.
You've built this audience that watched you throughout your fitness program, and now you're going to start changing gears and going into a different passion. Maybe it's travel or something like that. That same audience is going to follow you.
Yeah.
Trust you.
Perfect. No, you hit it right there. See, you hit it perfectly, and that's awesome. Yeah, no, you're so right because you build this audience and they trust you now. It's not that they trust the fact that you're working out or they trust the fact that you're doing this. It's that they trust you and they like you.
Yep.
And no, I love it because that's just one thing I always get told. It's like, what do I do? Just do it.
Yeah.
Just start doing it. Just start throwing videos out there. They don't have to be I made the mistake. I thought I had to get all the fancy, cameras and everything. And I didn't want to do it. And I was scared. And, it is scary. Getting in front of a camera and talking, it is scary because you are putting yourself out there. You start throwing advice or you start throwing comments out there. And then, you could be wrong. I on my Instagram, I like to put up, I started doing like these little questions, that little quiz function. So
Mm-hmm.
questions about, tax related things, this and that. And I had put something about corporate tax and in my mind I was thinking about it in a very narrow way, but I asked it in a very general term. And so a gentleman reached out and was like, hey, actually this and this. And I was like, oh, hey, you're right. I'm thinking about it a little bit too narrowly. I thought about it about one scenario instead of kind of the whole general scenario. And hey, it happens. You're not gonna get it right every time, but nobody's gonna forget. If you're posting. I'm sure nobody even remembers that anymore. It's long gone in the stories.
Yep.
That's the thing too. As long as you keep posting, you're gonna start getting the audience. You're gonna start getting the followers, and you're gonna start again. At the end of the day, you're gonna start getting that trust.
Yep.
I think that's great. So I do want to now let's get a little bit more, I guess, technical with it. So now we understand what a brand is. So let's talk a little bit about what's the best way to portray that brand? So I know we said get content out, but exactly what content, in your, I guess, with your expertise, because this is what you do, what is the best way to get your brand out there? Now that you're like, okay, I have my purpose, I have my, my vision, I know what I want to do. How do you get it out there?
I had my nephew the other day who messaged me because he wants to start metalworking in the small town where, people are kind of in their own zones and have their own people and everything like that, right? Mm-hmm. He's like, I just don't know about any of this social media stuff. I just don't know about any of this. I told him, I said, what you do is you just start showing people what you're doing. You're making your, what do you call the fire pit thing, is like, and you already have some projects that you're working on. So start doing some recordings of everything like that. And then posting it, asking them questions, education. People love being educated, And so, I mean, that's what your content really is. This is about educating them about your purpose, about what you're doing, and who you are.
No, I love it. I mean, I couldn't have said it better. I could have said it, but that's something I learned too. It's like, but you have to hone in exactly the audience,
Mm-hmm.
because if you're gonna just talk to everybody, yeah, but if you really want to, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if you really want to, I guess, get the maximum ROI of kind of all this, is going to be figure out what your niche is.
Yes.
And,
Well,
and from there, you want to maybe start creating the content to build an audience space. But once you realize, hey, I want to work with these guys, or I want to help them, then kind of start laser focusing a little bit more into that. And
I haven't
yes or no?
Yeah, I mean, I somewhat agree with that, but
Uh-huh.
I also think that if you're sharing the content that makes you authentic, you're going to attract the people who um, are your right clients. So
Oh, okay.
I think
I've never heard of it, put it like that, but you have a very good point there.
so. If you are like for myself, if I'm someone who cares about health, wellness, being there for my family, and that's what I start sharing about, I'm going to start attracting entrepreneurs who care about health, wellness, and their family and being there for them. So I just think that with the content that you're putting out there, that's who you're going to attract. And I think that comes with quality, as opposed to quantity, if you're
Mhm.
putting the quality content out there.
No,
Um,
that is a very good point. You're right. I mean, I've always just thought you just had to laser focus in, but you're right. I mean, you put out the right content out there, they're going to come to you,
yeah. So,
your
I mean,
ideal client.
you don't, it's not ideal client, it's ideal clients. It is
Clients.
plural.
Yes, you're right. No, you're 100% right.
But yeah, I've struggled with that for a few years where I felt like people were telling me too much to pick a person and build that person. And you know what? I was just like, I want to attract people who like me for my authenticity and for what I'm sharing and care about what I share too. So that, you know, is, yeah, that's kind of how I took that. I don't take it as a one person, but it's the people that care about what I care about.
No, I love it. I mean, those are, whoever told you that, or if you came up with that yourself. I mean, they're smart. You know what I mean? I love it. Because you're right. I mean, you bring up such a good point. I've always just was under the assumption you kind of go after them. But I mean, yeah, if you're creating the right content and people that speak to what you're speaking about, they're going to come to you. Like you
Yeah,
said, client,
exactly. Exactly.
plural. So let's jump a little bit into the SEO stuff. So I know a lot of people don't understand it, or just like, oh, I know that you have to have the right words to have a Google search, or things like that. And that's something we talked about a little bit with that article that you post, that 100 other people are posting as well. So let's talk a little bit about just SEO and what kind of, you don't have to go into detail about it, but just kind of what it is to explain to everybody who's listening. They're just like, well, I've heard about it, I know what it is, or I have an idea what it is, but not really.
Okay. So SEO, search engine optimization, for those, and to break that down further, it's if someone Googles you, what's the chance that someone's going to find you? And basically, you need to have your own website for that. And it's really, I'd like to say it's an easy process. It is a lengthy process to get in there and stand out. And, you have to do your research. You have to know the terms that people will look for. And then you need to work that into your website very carefully, because Google algorithms are very smart. So if it senses you're trying to stuff words in there just to be seen, it will hide you. So you need to make sure that your website and the content that you're putting on there is also very authentic, but also very carefully worded with how it's put in there for the keywords.
Okay, no. So
There's a lot of people that I follow, but I would really suggest doing studies with Neil Patel.
Neil
He's
Patel.
awesome. Yeah, he's awesome with SEO,
Okay.
and what he teaches. So he's who I get most of my info from.
No, nice, perfect. I mean, I've never heard of him, but I'm definitely gonna look him up because that's something I'm trying to work on right now. Is trying to make sure to optimize my page because when I first created it, I just kind of threw something together in Squarespace and like, let's go. I'm like, I got a
Hey, you
website.
gotta start.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, I'm good to go. But then as I start going, I'm like, I need to start. I need to start because I think I was like on the third or fourth page of a Google search, and I was like, ooh, like no one's looking at me for anything. So I just said, okay, let me start kind of getting in there, and I started looking into it a little bit. And yeah, it's interesting because like you
Yeah,
said, those algorithms are very intuitive, and
they
if you
are.
plugging stuff in, yeah, you'll get hidden right real quick.
Yep. And then, like Ahrefs, that's a great place to go look at for what your website will rank for. And it's a great place to go look at to determine who, you like, look at your competitors and how they are ranking, what keywords they're ranking for.
Mm.
So, and then that's when you can be like, maybe I should try and fit that in there to rank for that. Make sure you have a heading, an H1 on every single page. That's important because that's one of the first things Google looks for is your heading.
Mm-hmm.
And then your photos all need to have captions or details in them. So metadata, they all have to have that in there as well. So otherwise, all that Google sees is that it's an image, but there's no information to it. So the more information you put to an image, the more it can relate to your website.
Interesting. I had no idea about it. I had no idea. What was the name of the website that you were talking about where you can check out
Ahrefs.
Ahrefs? Okay.
Ahrefs.
Okay, perfect.
And then SEMrush is the one that I use. So not affiliated.
No, but I mean, I appreciate you sharing that because that's something I'm gonna go on there now and start looking as well because trying to see where I rank and how I can kind of start getting up with my competitors. And so no, I love it. I mean, this is great. Now, okay, you said you just started in January, right?
Just with this the branding stuff. As far as that's my niche that I want to go down. Like I did photography for families and newborns and events and anything that came to me, I would do photo sessions for. But as I started working with more entrepreneurs, it's just kind of how my path landed, and all the studying. Like I'm a business management major, and it just kind of all fit together. The hours and everything. So yeah, I just started the branding strategy type stuff in January.
No, I love it. I mean, it's smart because you're taking what and you're just kind of like you said honing it into a specific thing, and you're going after entrepreneurs who guys, we need it. Let's be real. I mean, we all need it. We think and some people are rock stars at doing all that themselves and everything, but then you've got a couple of those guys, or let me rephrase this, the majority of us guys and gals who are just kind of, okay, we're working and we're too busy to worry about any of that stuff, so let's just go ahead and just pay someone else to do it, or and that's something where I think you can come in and provide that perfectly, because you're spitting out a lot of knowledge here that I don't even know. So
I'll go a little bit into what the photography part does of it,
okay,
and how I fit that into the brand strategy.
perfect.
So I only want to work with 12 entrepreneurs on a subscription basis. And basically what that'll allow me to do is get to know each entrepreneur, their business, their stories, who they are, follow them, so that way when we sit down every quarter or every 6 months to do photo sessions, we can, nail down 3 or 4 stories that can be, shot and then you use throughout the next 4 to 6 months in your media. So that way it's consistent no matter where you're using it. Maybe in 6 months, that you're going to have a, holiday special coming up. So we need to go ahead and get the photos shot for that type of thing. And it's one of those things. So if you're sitting on the couch and you hear something in the background that just makes you think of something instantly, but now you have to go take the time to create a photo for it and, all this visual aspect of it, you won't have to do that because you'll already have photos to choose from. So it'll save you time as well. And that's I mean, that's pretty much it on the photography side of it.
No, I love it. It's smart because yeah, like you said, it provides more authenticity for you as a business owner to have, and you have a fresh set of photos to pick from that are going to be on all your platforms.
Yeah.
So you're not going to have just a certain set on, let's say, Facebook, and then something different. And so every quarter, then, if I'm not mistaken, you take the new sets and then you move into using those new sets for all the content and everything. Correct?
Yep. Yes. So depending on the package that you choose, you get between 60 to unlimited images.
Okay.
To choose from, and when we sit down and plan out the stories that you're going to tell, so you get the full resolution images, so that way you can crop them down to be able to use them however you want. So maybe one image actually tells 3 or 4 different stories depending on the crop. So that's, like someone drinking coffee, maybe they just want to, get in on the coffee cup and there's like a message on it or something, or the whole view, talking about being able to relax and, enjoy things as an entrepreneur, what you're doing. Just things like that within an image you wouldn't normally think about. But, it's not something that is really out there right now for entrepreneurs. I think is missing. And it's a very visual world, and it will always be very visual. And the more immediate, professional, high quality that you have up front, the higher quality of people you're going to start attracting.
No, I agree with you 100%. That's wow. I mean, I love it because I know that that's something that I'm trying to do now is I'll create a video and then chop it up and then, maybe create small videos here and then put little 60-second bits on Instagram and things like that. So, one video can create a week's worth of content.
Yes.
But I didn't even think about a picture doing the same thing. That is, wow.
Now you put a picture to the video, so as it's the header thing, and that's what's going to attract people to start listening to it just because they see the high quality image that's out there.
Yeah.
But I love that too about the content that you do. I always say, start out with your blog post, make that into a podcast, make that into a YouTube video, and then make that into 5 to 6 different Twitter and Instagram posts and make it into a Facebook post. So that right there is 6, 7 different types of media that you're putting out there from one blog post, or vice versa, from podcast to blog to
Yeah, no, that is awesome. I love it. And a lot of people don't understand that a podcast is actually one of the best ways to get your message out there because, for me, the way I use the podcast is, I bring on people like yourself, and let's say I come across a client of mine that's like, hey, I'm having trouble, I can't, my sales aren't going up. I'm having a hard time marketing and this and that. I can be like, hey, well, go to whatever episode this is going to be, check that out, check that out. Or I had a gentleman by the name of Jaime Resendez come on. He works with Remind, which is a software that does a lot of data mining for you for the real estate industry. So if you want to search for homes, let's say you're looking specifically for a house, a 2-story house with a couple that's maybe makes $250,000 combined income. They've been in it for 10 years and they're maybe looking to sell and upgrade. You can hone in your search pretty tightly to be able to get a list locally of who that, so you can start marketing to them and be like, hey, do you want to sell? Are you ready to upgrade? Are you, did you outgrow your house? And that, to me, it was just brilliant. But that's something when I come across realtors now, I'm like, hey, check out the episode with Jaime. A lot of free content there. We're trying to get the guys from Remind to come on because it's the same thing. I'll be like, hey, listen to that one, and they listen to the actual software, and it opens up a conversation right off the bat. One, I provide a lot of value, free value to them, to you guys. I mean, it's kind of a platform for you guys to come on and, boast about yourselves, which, I mean, you have every reason to do, and third, it just, again, content being put out there, which is, again, adding to the authenticity of it and kind of, adding to that trust level that you talk about.
Yep. And how much time do you spend in your car? What's the easiest way for people to hear you?
Oh yeah. I mean,
or jogging or working out or.
hmm so I use a app called Anchor. That's what distributes my podcast. I mean, we're using Zoom right now to record the video, but
Right.
you can use Anchor, and so you literally all you can do is just get Anchor, get on your phone, and just start talking and record an episode through your phone and distribute it out. It's that simple. You don't need much, and that's what.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna get those people that, oh, well, you need a mic and you need this and you need that. No, you don't need all that. Get the content out there, get it out there. As you start to grow, then you can kind of get a little bit better equipment, better this, better that, as you start to go. But I mean, this mic, I got the mic and the headset on sale for like $40. Nothing fancy. The pop filter is like $10. And so it's like, you don't need much. You really don't. And it's just, and it's not really about the quality of the video or the audio. I mean, yeah, it makes a little bit of difference, but it's about the quality of the content. If the content is good, people are going to listen to it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so that's something I've kind of been preaching a lot about. It's like, you get a lot of these people that get scared to go in front of the camera or they don't want to post on LinkedIn. They don't want to post because they're afraid that, if they misspell something, or if they're just afraid that people are going to disagree with them.
Right. Yeah.
But if they disagree with you, oh well. I mean, you can't please everybody.
So go find someone else to follow.
You can't please everybody.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've been trying to preach to this industry. It's like, get out from behind your computers and, get in front of the camera and just start throwing content out there.
No, I love what you're doing for accountants, because that's, not something you see a lot of. People think accounting and it's pretty dry, like, oh, that time of year again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a pocket on my shirt, or else I'd probably have the little, pocket protector with
pocket square.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, hey guys. It's not. No. That's something I'm trying to go out there and change the industry for the better.
Although that could be entertaining if your content is, good like that, right?
Exactly, so. Yeah. But that's the thing. You can have the most monotone voice in the world, but if you're sitting there talking about some stuff that's super valuable, no one's gonna care. I'll listen to you.
Yep. About the content.
There's one I listen to. It's I don't know if it's a podcast or just videos that they put out, but I forget who it is. It's some big shot partners at some firms, and they do kind of tax topics, but they talk about kind of like more complex tax stuff. And I mean, I tell you, it's boring if you're not in the industry. It is very dry stuff, no joking or everything, but monotone voices, but the content is amazing. And I personally, I'm geeking out. I'm like, oh yeah, oh, that's awesome, but again, it's not sexy, it's not anything, but the content is great.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got on the other end of the spectrum, well, not on the other end, but I've got my buddy Will Lopez, who puts out great content. I mean, awesome free content and great videos. I mean, that guy is like, can edit and sit there and, making he's got the green screen going, and it's just, he's really got it down. But, it's entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
And, again, entertaining and good content. Just get it out there. I can't say that enough.
Nope. That's right. I mean, just do it. Just get it out there. Don't worry about if people are going to like it or if they're going to think it's stupid. And just start doing it, because the only way you're going to learn how to get better is by just doing it.
Exactly.
So, go out there, and if you think it's going to sound stupid, well, then sound stupid. Because it's more than likely your authentic self and what people need to see anyways.
Yeah, that's, to me, it is, I feel like, a lot of people try to put this big, front of like, I don't know the right word for it, but just kind of a front, like, we're this person. Yeah. But then it's like, but I feel like it's counterproductive, because, we keep talking about authenticity. It's like, this is who I am. Yeah. I make a fool of myself on the camera. I'm a very outgoing person. I need to be around people all the time. This is who I am. Yeah. I'm working on talking a little bit better, as far as not so much ums and ands and and the filler words, because I do say them a lot. But this is who I am. And you know what you see on the videos, what you hear in the audio, what you hear all that is what you're gonna get. And that's just kind of something that I'm starting to get a couple, leads starting to come in, and people are just saying, hey, that this is who you are, and we like who you are. I said, well, thank you. Well,
Yep.
I can thank my parents.
I like who you are.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So, all right. Well, Sandra, we are coming up on it. I just want to say thank you for coming on. The input is extremely, extremely valuable. Where can they get a hold of you at?
I am It's Your Turn Photography. So if you go to Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, it's at Your Turn Photography. And my website is itsyourturnphotography.com. So ITSYOURTURN photography. So
Perfect.
It's Your Turn.
And we'll post a link to all that on the description below for the video and the audio version. That way people can get a hold of you and everything. But awesome. Thank you, guys. And again, remember, it's all about being authentic. And she is preaching just valuable gems here, y'all. So, Sandra, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. And you have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Jose.